It is, of course, the sounds of Maverick City, Man of Your Word, featuring Chandler Moore on that track.
And before that, Sidewalk Prophets. 16 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of August, 2021. My name's Jonathan Haller. With me in studio is Rachel Govender. And it's time now for us to say good morning and thank you for your time, Mr. Michael Swain.
Good morning, Jonathan. Great to be with you again. Good to be on Breakfast with Friends.
Thank you so much. Michael Swain is the Executive Director for Freedom of Religion South Africa, and he's joining us via StreamYard so that we can be live on radio, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, because this morning we need to talk about something very important, and that is with regard to the new lockdown level 3 regulations when it comes to religious gatherings. Michael, take us through what are some of those new regulations, please.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. And obviously, the lockdown level has been adjusted to a better level than it was, and we're certainly happy with that. The adjusted level 3 regulations were passed by the President and the Compton Ministry on the 26th of July. And the good news is that after literally a month-long ban on religious gatherings across the country, religious gatherings are at least, and that would include home groups, now permitted again. But however, there's some interesting conditions. There is now, obviously, again, a numeric cap of 50 people indoors or 100 people outdoors. And for smaller venues that can't accommodate that amount of people, then it's 1.5 meters social distancing up to 50% of the capacity of the venue. But quite interestingly, there has now been a new regulation in as much as the owner or the operator of the venue must now post a certificate which has been provided, which basically gives two categories. It gives 100% occupancy, like imagine if there was no social distancing, how many people would it take? Say 500 people. And then a category of 50%, which is like, what will the venue take with the protocols in place? In other words, 1.5 meter distancing, and that might be 350 people, and you must display that. And I think the reason for that is that, so if there is an inspection, for example, then you can basically see immediately, or the authorities can see immediately, how many people should the venue have and how many people actually does it have. And here's where it gets a little tricky, because the capacity limit of 50 people, in times past, if you'd exceeded that, it was the actual operator or the owner of the venue that was responsible. But according to the new regulations, if you are the 51st person, then you plus the other 50 are all potentially criminally liable. So you're criminally liable if you don't display the certificate, and you're criminally liable if there are more than 50 people in the venue and you reasonably should have known that that capacity has been exceeded. So all 51 of you, if you like, could end up in jail for 6 months. So this is quite a draconian departure from what there was previously.
It really is, and very severe. Do we see anything similar to this for other places, like be it restaurants or casinos or so forth?
Yeah, look, I mean, at least the good news, if there is good news, and I suppose it is good news that at least people are allowed to meet in this measure again, is that it is applicable to all meetings. And it may well be that the government hasn't necessarily got, religious gatherings in its sights. Obviously, what we have seen is we've seen multiple other gatherings, particularly political gatherings, even protests, where there's been like zero constraint on numbers, zero police presence to monitor or, sort that sort of thing out. And unfortunately, what we have seen is that we've seen quite a lot of police interventions at religious gatherings. And even not this past weekend, the weekend before that, there were a number of visits from police to different churches who were actually really simply trying to put together supplies to take down to the devastated areas of KZN, for example. But be that as it may, we live under the rule of law, and government have decided that this is the limitation that it's prepared to put down at this stage. But obviously, what we have said, and we wrote to the president last week, in fact, is we have said that when you see the infection rates and the death rates declining, then they really must then review this as a matter of urgency, because as we've said so often before, you can only constrain somebody's constitutional right, particularly to freedom of religion, etc., to the extent that it is proportionate and it is reasonable and that it achieves the purpose for which it is intended. You can't just do it on an arbitrary basis. And again, that's really the nub of the lawsuit that we have now got dates for on the 22nd and to the 24th of November, where FORSA is taking the Cogton minister to the Johannesburg High Court, basically to say that there has been instances of what is, we believe, blatantly unfair discrimination against the religious sector in terms of how it's dealt with compared to other sectors of society. And so we're hoping that we're going to get then a judgment which will basically mean that in future, it will set a critical legal precedent. In future, government will not be able to be arbitrary in terms of how it defines regulations pertaining to religious gatherings particularly. And also, we want religious workers and religious organizations recognized as essential services, which incredibly enough still has not been formally and officially mandated or promulgated in terms of these current regulations. So that's what we're going to be in court to do, because we believe that we must make sure that religious gatherings, religious organizations are not unfairly discriminated against, even though we obviously recognize that this is a serious and severe situation government is facing.
Sure. Well, we're going to definitely have to keep tabs on that court case. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning, Michael. If people would like more information, where can they go? Because what I love about Freedom of Religion South Africa is you guys are getting into that video, not analysis, but video arena, and bringing across the information that we need to know via videos.
Yeah, we're trying to get up to the 21st century, Jonathan, rather like you. So yes, you can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook page. We actually have a short summary of pretty much what I've told you this morning as well, which Advocate Nadine Badenhorst, our Senior Legal Counsel, has actually put together. So you can download that, you can view that. And yes, it is very important because it's helpful to know exactly what the regulations say so that you don't accidentally fall foul of them. So go to our website, forsa.org.za, our Facebook page, Freedom of Religion SA, and look at the videos. And also we have a newsletter, which is going out today, in fact. So that's also going to be posted on our website as well.
Fantastic. All the details on their website, which is www.forsa.org.za. Michael Swain, always great to chat to you. Thank you so much for your time, and to you and the rest of the team, may God give you wisdom, courage, strength, and discernment.
Thank you, Jonathan. God bless you.
God bless you too.